welcome to Tarot with Tanya. This is 7 cards for 7 days, and we are starting with March 20 and going until the 26th. It's quite a week in terms of the astrology. We'll get to the cards here in a little bit. But we have the vernal equinox, the spring equinox, on Monday afternoon. And then by the next morning, we have the new moon in Aries. And I believe I mentioned that last week. Whenever we get to that first new moon in Aries after the spring equinox, it's a great time to make a vision plan or board or affirmations, however you might practice that for the rest of the year. Because astrologers often see this as the beginning of the actual year. So it usually doesn't happen that you get that Aries new moon the next day, but that's the way that it is this year. So hopefully you had a little bit of a heads up to think about if you would like to do some sort of project with that or not. But other than that, we begin we begin the week with the moon in Pisces. That's Monday. Then, it's switching over to Aries. We go through Aries, Taurus, and then we end next weekend with the moon in Gemini. So moving from a very watery, psychic, sort of amorphous energy with Pisces, very creative, into Gemini, which is mentally quite quick and agile, great networking kind of energy, things like that. So I drew the cards, just did that, and then also an oracle card for us, and I'm being consistent this time in using the Wild Unknown, both the tarot cards and the oracle deck. And this has never happened before, but out of the 7 cards, 5 of them are majors. So that pleases me in the sense of it fits with the astrology, I feel. We really are at an important juncture here in our year. So our Monday, the 20th, begins with the Star card. So that's that first major that is popping up for us. Sometimes people call it the Star of Hope, the wishing star. It can be very, very dreamy, which fits with that Pisces energy that's coming to a close for the season. And I don't know, it just seems to me like great energy to start a new year on. And in numerology, that is a number 8. That's 17, 1 and 7 make 8. And we don't have a lot of repetitions this week in terms of numbers and things. 2 2s, and that's it. So great start to the week with that Star card. And then when we get to that Aries new moon and that beginning energy is even more emphasized, we have the Mother of Wands. You might know it as the Queen of Wands. That's the fire energy. And if you can't tell by the image I'm holding up here of the card, it is a snake coiled. You get the wand, which are, essentially sort of sticks or twigs in this depiction. And also a clutch of eggs. So there is that wonderful nurturing of something new, something that has been nestled in your dreams for a while. I think that's just wonderful, a card for that day. So that's our Tuesday with that Aries new moon and continuing energy of the vernal equinox. We get our only other card from any of the suits this time, and that is the Ace of Wands. So all majors this time except for the 2 wands, one a royal card, one a minor. So here's our minor, but great Aries initiating moon energy again. So it's really, really being supported in the cards this week. Last week's cards I thought were a bit tough. So I'm happy to see us to get this energy support and sort of a break. And that was for our Wednesday. Moon will still be in Aries then, getting ready to move on and into Taurus. So by the time we get to Thursday, we have the High Priestess, a 2 card, this number 2 in the majors, and here we have our lovely tiger. I mean, these are mostly in black and white, so perhaps a Siberian one, perhaps not, but you have the night sky, which is often associated with the High Priestess. The crescent moon is certainly one of her symbols too. And then you have what I see at least as the world right between her paws there. So a great intuitive energy. So, putting it together so far, it's like there's a rebirth. There's encouragement and capacity for new dreams, birthing new things. And then, by the time we get to Thursday, it calms down a bit. This is, secrets can be associated with this card. Things can be revealed in a more personal way. I also feel like it is really listening to your intuition, getting quiet enough, moving away from the energy up in the head and more down into the heart, where our intuition resides, the heart and the gut. So use that energy Thursday to maybe refine your dream, maybe set aside some time to really listen to what those new energies are calling for you to do. Then on Friday, after that quiet day, we get a big energy day in the Tower. Now for each person, this could present in a very different way. It could be like this: a crack of lightning comes and sort of takes off the top of the tree. Could take off the top of an idea or a situation, an experience. But often with this card, it's more like letting go of something. An old form has calcified. I spent yesterday afternoon with my beloved son hours in the kitchen trying to take out an old faucet so we could put in a new one. Oh my goodness. You talk about, calcification, rust, all that good stuff. And it's just like, it needs to change. It was a bit of a tower for us that day. Much better today. We should get the whole thing in. So it can be a small thing like that, or it can be much larger. You realize that a path you're on is changing, or a relationship or something, but it should come with some really good insight. You've already opened up the day before, that Thursday, with the High Priestess, and then on Friday, the insight really comes in and shows you more clearly what direction is best for you. When we get to our Saturday, maybe after all of that breakthrough energy of the week, we need a bit of a rest because we get the Hermit. And this is one of my favorite Hermit cards in all of the tarot world, because you have this wonderful turtle, let me get this precise, I was going to say candle, but it's not. It's like a hurricane lamp on top of it with this wonderful glow. And just a little smiley face, I think, on our turtle peering out. So good day to take it easy, go within, shelter the self in some way, even if it's an hour or two, carving out time for you and letting these big energies settle in and hopefully, into a way forward that feels better for you, feels rejuvenating. We also have Jupiter in Aries right now, and Venus. So there is some renewal coming in that way too. Then our last card for next Sunday is Judgment. And this one's a little hard to see with all the glare and so forth. But basically, I'm not sure if you can see that like ascended bird figure at the very top of the card, but it is there. And all these other birds are lifting up in that direction. It's like they've been stirred up. And, you know, typically on judgment cards in various decks, you might see death on a card coming through, and with a trumpet perhaps, or an angel with a trumpet, the idea of awakening, resurrection. And, you know, of course, it isn't literal. It is meant to be symbolic. So because it is the judgment card as well, how do we judge ourselves seems to be a really good question. Or do we judge others? And I mean, I think it's a big part of the human condition to do that. But one of the beautiful challenges of the card is, can we take our judgments and turn them into good judgment? So rather than judging the self and others, can we make it into a good judgment? How do we exercise good judgment in our lives? So wrapping up again, we had 5 majors. That's a lot. 5 connecting back to our higher front in the deck. And those are human lessons. And I feel like, you know, again, this week's are buoyant. They are lifting us. They are supporting us, encouraging us to reach into those higher vibrations. And then with the only 2 suit cards being wands, you know, that fits so well with that new spring energy too. For our oracle card this week, what came up for us was the owl. As I was shuffling, even in the regular deck, I saw images of the owl, and I thought, I feel like that's talking to us today, so I wasn't too surprised when it came up. You might think of Athena if you're somebody who likes Greek mythology. It's in Native American mythology or, you know, practice. It's very powerful medicine. You should be careful with it, they believe. I agree with that. I love owls. They have always been a draw for me for whatever reason. But anyway, let's see what our book has to say. Right away, associated qualities are abundance, clairvoyant, and treasures. The owl is a mysterious and otherworldly creature found in folklore from east to west. The white owl in this particular deck is the companion of the goddess Lakshmi and represents wealth, beauty, and good fortune. When the owl card appears, it's an omen that a boon or treasure is on the way, either in spiritual or material form. With the spiritual, it could be a big insight, a solution to a problem, a way forward, you know, knowing you should let something go. On the material, who knows? With that Ace of Wands, aces are always gifts. There could be something coming that is, you know, tangible as well. So with owl wisdom on your side, you'll see and know exactly what to do with this boon, how it can further serve your dharma, which would be like your way in the world, your path forward, what you're supposed to do, what you're learning, and bring abundance to the world. Trust that the wellspring of treasures is infinite, and you know, that's opposite of the scarcity mentality, which, you know, politicians are very fond of bringing out. It seems like school administrators and so forth. The austerity always seems to benefit those who have the power and not those who don't. So I think it's much more important for us to think abundantly and to claim abundance, and then to share it as well amongst ourselves. So, beloveds, take what resonates for you, leave the rest behind. As always, keep believing in yourself, developing your gifts, listening to those little voices. And I want to share one little thing with you too. If you are interested in numerology and finding out what your tarot card is, you'll probably need a piece of paper and a pencil or pen. And at least I would. It's hard for me to do it in my head. And we'll do a little numerology. So you would take the month of your birth, add that to the day. So for instance, if you are born March, let's say 20th, so you have a 3, and then you have a 2. 20, the 0 doesn't count, so you add the 3 and 2 together, you get 5. Then to know what it was for when you were born, you would add up the birth year, and you want to do that sideways. Like, you know, if it's in the 1900s, it's the 1 plus the 9 plus, let's say it's 89, something like that, then you add that 8. So in that case, since you have 2 9s, you're only adding the 1 and the 8, and that turns into a 9. And let's say that it was March 20, 1989. So you have a 5, and then you're adding that 9 to it, and that's 14, and you'll see that that reduces right back down to a 5. So then that would be the Hierophant, and that would be your tarot card. So try that. Let me know if you have questions about it. It's I think very interesting to see what archetype your soul vibrates to in that way. And the next time I'll talk about how you find out the one for the current year as well. So thank you so much for being here, for your love, your support, your kindness. Please consider liking, sharing, subscribing as always. And if you're interested in a personal reading, you'll find information in the description box below, and then my website listed at the end. So take care and have a beautiful week.